Brighten up those dark mornings. Wheeler, Ollie, and Lecter. Mornings at the Cabin.
Mornings at the Cabin, indeed, starting a few seconds earlier on a Monday morning. Minus 24 degrees out there. It's pretty dang warm.
Look at these two go-getters.
Look at them go.
Coming in
I
early
even got here a little early. Usually I come in right before we start, but I was here 10 minutes early. We had a great conversation, and now it's all going to go downhill. Mornings at the Cabin brought to you by Aurora Ford Drive in the North. Obviously, this past weekend was Valentine's Day. Did you guys go do... we'll get into it, but did you guys do a little something?
We did a little something.
You did a little something?
A little something.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, we'll get into that. I don't want to hear about it now.
Okay.
What else would happen this weekend? The Ever Late Show Love Edition was apparently a huge success. Lauren McGinnis, Unky Lauren, came to borrow one of my jackets. I didn't see a picture of him in it, but he came to borrow that sequin coat that we bought a couple of years ago. I figured it would be a bit big for him. He's smaller than me.
Right. Maybe that was the gag.
Maybe that was the
little guy in a big coat.
That's right. Little guy in a big coat. That's always funny. Always funny. Almost as funny as a big guy in a little coat.
Bigger than a regular size coat.
Yeah, that's right.
You understand.
You get it. You get it. Also in the news this weekend, not totally surprising, but sad nonetheless. There will be no Long John Jamboree this year. It's fourth disrupted year in a row. Because I guess so. You go this year's canceled. Last year was canceled. The year before that, the Winds. Why with the fourth year? We'll get into it as we go on. And RYLED Johnson, champion of the people, looking to add a stat holiday for February. BC has it. Alberta has it. Where's the NWT?
It's about time.
Hey, Goober, where's my stat holiday?
Mornings at the Cabin, the podcast.
Post Valentine's Day. I know not everybody participates. Heck, Phoenix and I talked about what did we do last year? No idea. Can't remember. Right around this time last year, we were about to take Betty down for her surgery.
Oh, yeah, right.
So it's been about a year.
Right.
So I can't remember if we did anything for Valentine's Day. Maybe had a dinner together, but we didn't go out or anything like that.
Right.
So we don't put a lot of effort into it. You see all over Facebook, a lot of people putting that effort in, which is great. Having that nice romantic dinner or posting about how much they love each other and stuff like that's disgusting. We went to Copper House, though.
Yeah.
Had a wonderful night. A nice set menu. You got shared appy with some Prosecco, and then you got to pick shared amuse-bouche with Prosecco, and then each got to pick an appetizer.
Mouth amusement.
That's right. Each got to pick an appetizer, and each got to pick a main, and then you shared a dessert. Wonderful stuff. Copper House, just bringing it, and some really delicious food.
Very nice.
Very nice.
Can you turn my headphones up a little bit? I'm having a little trouble hearing your dulcet tones.
Where's your snare?
A little bit.
Where's my snare?
A little bit. That's too loud. A little bit. Dial it back. Yeah. Oh, perfect.
Oh, God. I love when the audience hears the technical stuff. We had a great time. They did it up really nice. Copper House is pretty solid.
Nice.
Pretty solid for that. And so I had a nice steak. Phoenix had the Thai chicken curry. Very nice.
Very nice.
And I had for appetizer, had a potato and whitefish cake.
Oh,
very nice.
Potato and whitefish,
like a fish cake,
right?
Yeah.
For some reason, I missed appetizer because he didn't say. What is it again?
Amuse-bouche.
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 Yes.
A mouth amusements.
I just immediately thought dessert because you were saying it after your dinner, and I was like, oh, potato and whitefish.
So an amuse-bouche is meant to get your palate ready for what's coming.
Yes.
Tickle
your tongue.
Tickle your fancy tongue.
Yeah. Get it giggling.
Yeah, that's right.
Ready for the main course.
That was my tongue right after that. Delicious.
Someone shut that guy's tongue up.
Delicious evening. And we came home and just relaxed for the rest of the evening. What did we start watching? The Terminal.
The Terminal?
Starring Tom Hanks.
Wow.
It's the one where
a random one?
Yeah, it was a little random. It just kind of popped up on Netflix, and I was like, this is kind of fun.
Doesn't he have a new movie that just dropped on Netflix? It's
the same thing?
Oh, the Terminal?
No, the Terminal's from 2004. It's the one where Tom Hanks, as he's flying, his country gets overthrown, and his country doesn't exist anymore, so he has to stand in the international wing of of JFK for however many months.
Right.
And it's actually slightly based on a true story.
Right. Yeah. That was a good movie.
It was all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a cute one.
As good as a guy just hanging out in an airport.
Yeah.
Could be.
Catherine, there's something about that one that Catherine Zeta-Jones is the love interest, right?
Right.
And Catherine Zeta-Jones is so wonderful, so incredibly talented. Chicago's incredible.
Yeah.
And she's incredibly talented. But as a love interest for like a slightly schlubby like Tom Hanks in the movie. I'm like, no, no, she's just a little too refined and like really sophisticated. And I'm just like, I don't know.
Unless Clooney's in there with her, I'm not buying.
I would have liked maybe a Helen Hunt or even an Emma Thompson doing an American accent. She's just a little too like mind-numbingly gorgeous. To be normal.
Yeah, that's fair.
Sorry to all you normies out there, all you hot normies. That was bad.
You can't compete
terrible.
with Catherine Zeta-Jones.
That's right.
I'm sorry.
And what did you guys do for V-Day?
So we went last night to Bullock's Bistro.
Oh yes, that's right.
We
have to go back there.
Yeah,
food's so good. How was it?
Oh man, it was so good. And I just I was thinking about this as we were eating. Like, you know, Bullock's Bistro is an infamous restaurant. Legendary. Yeah, every tourist that ever comes through Yellowknife.
That's right.
Like, that's an obvious one on the bucket list. You got to go and get.
I love
fish.
that they bottle their sauce now. So good.
Oh yeah, and so I, you know, obviously one of the key things about Bullock's Bistro is the ambiance is kind of is gritty. It's like a little bit punk rock.
Thank you for saying aunts, not to very nice. Ambiance.
Well, the ambience.
You said ambiance.
Ambiance.
Yeah, very nice.
Yes. Well, the ambience.
It is gritty. It's punk
delightful
rock
as well.
Yeah, it's punk rock in there.
Yeah, it's very punk rock, and I was thinking like it's a real testament to how good the food is here, that this could be your surrounding on Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
And it just be like, this is perfect.
Perfect.
Like I don't need it to be clean and, you know, that sounded bad. I did not mean it that way, Bullock's Bistro. No.
Joanne, we're so sorry.
The restaurant is very clean. It is incredibly sanitary.
No, but I understand.
Up to code, I would say.
Well, I mean, like comparatively speaking, like to a copper house, which is like really nice,
shiny and
new, and
like Bullock's Bistro, they pull back the curtain.
Yeah.
On that side of things.
Show you how they make the sausage.
Yeah, it's, you know, punk rock is just the easiest way to say
that
it.
Is right.
Without sounding insulting.
This place is punk rock. This is the CBGB of Yellowknife.
But it's so good.
Yeah.
That, you could go there. It's not a romantic setting.
All right.
I gotta stop.
You have to stop describing it this way.
No more descriptive words.
Not romantic,
it's
totally
so
dirty.
Punk rock. That it doesn't necessarily jive with a traditional Valentine's Day ambiance.
Well, I'm glad you guys had a nice meal,
complimentary drink as well,
very nice,
and a complimentary cupcake for dessert.
All right,
Nicole didn't want hers, so I had 2 cupcakes for
Nicole
dessert.
didn't want her cupcake.
I know.
What is going on?
Too full of fish.
Fair enough.
Yeah, it'll happen.
Fair enough. Well, two great evenings.
Yeah,
2 great restaurants. And free mentions all around. Mornings at the Cabin brought to you by Aurora Ford.
The Mornings at the Cabin podcast. Hey, it was early. What do you want from us? No
Long John Jamboree again this year. It makes sense. Obviously, we're in the middle of a pandemic. Phoenix and I were actually talking about this yesterday. We went for a drive on the ice road, tried to check out some lights. There were no lights out at 7:30. So we don't stay up past 9. So
right.
So, but we're really hoping, she was really hoping, obviously, because there's an opportunity for her dancers to do something as well, because they usually do something.
Right.
They're hoping that, they'd put something together, because it's outdoors, Yeah. But I mean, how do you keep people like all, you don't keep them all clumped up, I guess. I don't know. But I mean, they made the decision not to do anything, this year, due to COVID-19. Of course, last year due to COVID-19 and the year before that, lost a whole day to the weather, and we moved everything, or they moved everything up to the twin pad, up into the multiplex there. And we had, the beer tent and, some stuff up there in the parking lot. So obviously displaced as well. It says for the last 4 years, but I can't remember what happened the year before that.
Well, there was a melt.
That was
that 3 years ago?
The melt was 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
Yeah. So the melt was.
The melt was after the wind.
Yeah, the melt was 2 years ago. So that's why the Snow King Festival was laid up for a week early.
Right.
And then, but I guess the melt affected them too. That was 2 years ago. But the wind affected it 2 years ago. I can't remember what happened 3 years ago now.
Was it 2 years in a row? Or sorry, 2 out of 3 years where there was an early melt?
Maybe,
because
I can't remember.
That was why it moved to to the
and that was 2 years ago.
Parking lot or the field house parking lot.
Yeah, or 3 years ago now. It would have been 3 years ago. So what happened in 2019? It says in the story, it says, I'm having trouble with my years. In 2018, almost lost an entire day to high winds. Okay,
Right.
So that year was the high winds. We lost the day, but it still stayed down there, right? And then
Yes.
2 years ago, because of the melt, it moved to the twin pad. And then last year, COVID-19. This year, COVID-19. Okay, so
yeah,
I was
fourth
thinking
year
the
in a
high
row.
winds and moving it to the twin pad was the same year,
Right.
but it's the first year. And I remember that year. That was crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think, I remember, we just lost an entire day to the high winds. It was terrible weather.
Yeah.
And then 2 years ago, it was the melts. So I was thinking 2 years ago was the high winds plus the melts.
Yes.
Anywho,
So this will be the fourth year.
fourth year in a row that it's been displaced or otherwise encumbered
Yes.
by something. So, I mean, unfortunately, the last 2 years they've had to cancel completely. So, I mean, what comes next? I don't know. But the Facebook has launched a fundraising raffle this week with tickets now on sale. Volunteers are also being sought. That's at the Snow King Winter Festival, I should say. So that's they're raising money as they've kind of augmented their festival. So I think a lot of people were kind of hoping that the Long John Jamboree would kind of go on in some form.
Right.
But it's not, and that makes a lot of sense. You can kind of maybe, and I'm not sure how the funding's working. Maybe they're still getting running for grants and stuff like that. So you pull in a little bit of money without having any expenditures, and that way you can kind of keep. I was thinking about this because the Long John Jamboree has kind of, it's had the same issues as Caribou Carnival. We'll get into that in a second. Had the same issues as Caribou Carnival, and when it comes to attendance and when it comes to things to do and things like that, and was suffering a little bit. Mass imprisonment.
Yeah.
Was suffering a little bit when it came to money. Obviously, we know. Yeah. And I was thinking, like, how ironic it would be if shutting it down for a couple of years and not having those expenditures, but maybe still pulling in some grant money would actually save it.
Yeah.
You'd be able to come back even stronger. Because that was the plan for this year. They canceled last year. We'll come back strong next year. And obviously, that's not happening because COVID-19 still lives among us.
Yeah.
So
they already have pledged for 2022.
They have
to be back.
Good.
So that's good news that there's enough optimism there to already put the statement out there that
that's
2022 that next year is going to be different.
On the comment on our Facebook page. Every time we post a story about Long John Jamboree, doesn't matter how innocuous or how major it is, somebody's always like, they should bring back Caribou Carnival. It's like, stop it. Stop it. It's the same thing. Long John Jamboree is the same thing as Caribou Carnival. And you know what? It's having the same issues. Attendance, things to do, money. There's a reason Caribou Carnival shut down, and there's a reason something new took its place. It's just like, and every time. And usually there's a couple of people who say it. And like, when I was a kid, the Caribou Carnival was just the best. It's like, I have news for you. No, it wasn't. I was also a kid when Caribou Carnival was here. It wasn't that great. It was okay. Like, it was fine. But I mean, by the time I reached high school, I was like, I don't want to go to Caribou Carnival.
Yeah, but you might have just been a jaded little jerk.
I might have been a jaded little jerk ass.
Yeah.
But
so we can't take your word.
And I mean, I loved Caribou Carnival when I was a kid. I really did. But I mean, like, it had the same issues.
Right.
Like, and Long John Jamboree, as hard as everybody works, and we love all the work they put into it. I love the branding, love it all.
Yeah.
We do love a Long John Jamboree. There were issues each time. It's like things to do. There's some music. There's the beer tent. There's some music in the beer tent. Then there's cabane de sucre and helicopter rides, dog races, and that's about it.
Snow volleyball.
Snowlyball.
Snowlyball.
So like it was a matter of getting things for things to do, and not that it wasn't fun. It was just like it suffered from the same issues.
Yeah.
And every time someone's like, "Well, what about Caribou Carnival? We should bring that back." It's like, why? You can't keep this. You won't get off your ass to support this one. But if Caribou Carnival comes back, you're like, "Oh, this reminds me of bleh. I'll go do that." No, you won't. No, you won't.
I'm glad it's back. Now I'll go do something else.
Yeah, I'm glad it's back. But geez, when I was a kid, there were roller coasters. No, there wasn't. Stop it. Every time. And like under this one, same thing. It was like they should bring back Caribou Carnival, and someone literally said, it's basically the same.
Right.
And has the same issues. And that person responded, doesn't feel the same. Like, oh God, that's on you. That's on you that it doesn't feel the same.
One of the stories that I've heard about Caribou Carnival that I just love.
That there weren't any caribous involved?
Well, they migrated. So, yeah, that's why it's left.
That's right.
And Caribou migrated and took their carnival with them.
That's right.
It's probably celebrated somewhere in the Mackenzie Mountains. We're just not aware of it.
That's right.
And we don't get to take part in the fun.
That's a Caribou-only carnival.
That's right. As it should be.
Yeah.
The way it started.
That's right. Tradition.
No, one of the stories I've always heard about Caribou Carnival that I just love, and I don't think Long John Jamboree ever did, or at least I've never heard about it, is the the random imprisonments.
Yes, I do miss that. I will, and that was the Caribou Capers.
Yes,
and that was was very fun.
Describe how that works.
So
for people who don't know,
you would nominate people, and people would go through the city.
Yes,
like you'd have the Caribou Caper people go through the city, and they would just grab people from the office,
right,
and lock them up in front of the post office, in a like a makeshift holding
cell.
Holding cell. Yeah, a lot of fun. You did it to raise money.
Yes,
and it was a great little prank for people.
Yeah.
I do miss that.
Yeah,
and I miss Caribou Carnival being basically a half day off of work as well. Right, just like Long John is as well.
Yeah,
right. So they did that, and they would have them randomly locked up downtown, which is a ton of fun. So you could do that and just call it Caribou Capers still.
Yeah,
I guess.
And
again, don't get me wrong, Caribou Carnival was a great traditional thing, but just every time we do that, like people are putting a ton of work into something that's a little different, but not really. Yeah. And all you can think to do is like, oh, they shouldn't do that. They should do Caribou Carnival again.
Right.
It's this thing.
It's weirdly a different tone with, obviously this didn't happen this past summer either, but the festival on Franklin, that's,
it's Raven Madness.
In its infancy.
Well, and the same thing there is people are like, why not just bring back Raven Madness? It's the same thing.
But I don't feel like people take exactly that same type of tone where they're just like, they should bring this back. They're just like, they more like just kind of, reminisce fondly on Raven Madness.
That's true. I guess
they're happy that something's happening.
Maybe it's because it was a summer thing.
Yeah, you're just happier in general.
That's right.
Yeah. Fair enough. But I do love the what was it called again? The imprisonment.
Yeah, Caribou Capers.
Caribou Capers.
Yeah,
I love that.
And they had the Caribou Queen and the Caribou Princess and stuff like this. Like you could raise money. It was a good fundraising effort. So yeah, you could bring stuff like that back. That'd be fun. But I mean, you know what? Like, people are putting a ton of work into these things. Yeah. Just appreciate the work. Appreciate the fact that there are people volunteering to try to give you something to do in the winter. Yeah. Rather than whining about it, just be like, hey, you know what? How can I help this out? And if it's not good enough for you, why not go in there and try to figure out how you can help make it better?
Well, because that takes effort, Jess.
That takes effort. That takes effort.
Sorry,
I didn't mean to get off.
It's much easier to
Didn't mean to get off on a rant. We're sorry to see LLJ will not be going on this year, but we hope for next year and a big old festival next year.
Mornings at the Cabin, the podcast, where we cut out all the great music and you're left with the rest.
Mornings at the Cabin brought to you by Aurora Ford, driving the north, continuing on with hour number 2 of MATC. It's dipped a little bit. It's minus 26 degrees. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty good.
Pretty good.
Pretty good. Speaking of pretty good, and that you know what? That's not a good segue at all. Rylund Johnson. He's doing great. But you gotta love a person who's like, hey, we should probably have another stat holiday. And the reason being because I had this conversation every time around this year because, you get the January, February blahs.
Yes.
It's the middle of the winter. It's just post Christmas. So you're past all this stuff where you don't get to, go out and drink and eat as much as you want anymore. I mean, you can, but it's frowned upon. But there's a long break between January 1st, New Year's Day, and spring break, which is in March. You got about 2 months there where there's no stat holiday. There's no other stat holiday in January, and the NWT does not have a stat holiday for February, whereas Alberta has Family Day.
And as adults, spring break doesn't mean anything to us anymore.
It doesn't mean a damn thing.
No.
I mean, if you got kids, you get to go on spring break with your kids. Basically, it means you get to haul your kids around for 2 weeks, and you might have fun, but you're babysitting for 2 weeks. Right. Babysitting, whatever. Yeah. You're with your kids for 2 weeks. With no break. This spring break becomes a break for anybody else but you. I'm not a parent. If that was a parent.
This is reminding me of a fantastic Simpsons reference that I just felt necessary to preface before just slipping it in there. When Homer says to Bart breaks his leg and he's like, I'm going to miss the whole summer. And Homer's like, don't worry, son. When you're an adult, you'll miss every summer.
Yes. So there's this big long break, but Rylund Johnson is suggesting, with Family Day approaching in various provinces across Canada, Northwest Territories MLA is fighting for Territories residents to add their own holiday in February. And I mean, you mentioned this. Rylund loves his slam dunk. And this feels like a slam dunk.
It is.
Like, this is just a slam dunk. Like, why not? Why don't we have a stat holiday in February? Like I said, Alberta, BC have Family Day. I think Ontario has Family Day. And then we don't have Family Day because we've got Indigenous Peoples Day. But now everybody else, that's now a national holiday.
Right.
And I think
is that a national holiday?
Isn't it?
Now?
I mean, it should be, right? I mean, it's June 21st. It should be Indigenous Peoples Day. That should be a national holiday.
I think you might, yeah.
I don't think it is. I don't think it's across the board, but it is here, right?
Yeah.
So we've got that instead of Family Day.
Right.
But I mean, like,
that's great.
It is great. But I mean, like, here's the thing about a stat holiday in June. It's great for us, but I mean, if you don't get a stat holiday in June, it's still June.
It's also a week away from Canada
It's
Day.
a week away from Canada Day.
Which is also, like,
you
great.
Just had May Long. Right, which is usually the third weekend of May, and then you've got like 5 weeks before July 1st.
Yeah.
And then August, and then September, you get a long weekend in every month.
Yeah.
So if you don't get one in June, it's still June.
Yeah.
It's still summer.
Right.
In the depths of February, when we are getting some light back, it's still kind of dark and cold.
Mm-hmm.
Be nice to have a long weekend in there.
It would.
If you don't have a job that you can take time off of, this one. But so there you go. I mean, that he's suggesting, he said in the Ledge, he chuckled his way through his opening statement. Very unprofessional. That he was glad that the territory was heading into a long weekend. Oh, wait, Mr. Speaker. I thought for a second we were Alberta or BC or possibly Ontario, maybe Saskatchewan or even New Brunswick. Oh baby. Gotta love MLA with a good sense of humor, throwing a little salt in there. I love it. But we're not.
Windmill dunk.
We're in the Northwest
Johnson.
Territories, and we don't get a statutory holiday in February. In fact, after New Year's, I have to wait over 3 dark months until the next holiday. Okay, now putting yourself in there is not going to endear you to a lot of people who don't get any of those holidays, Rylund, but still, the point is made. Should we have a long weekend in February? I mean, again, slam dunk. I don't know anyone who would disagree with this.
Yeah.
Although I imagine if we go into our comment section below this story, it'll be like, oh, suck it up. I don't get 3 long weekends. Like, okay, well, too bad.
That person can show themselves out.
That's right. So there are currently 10 statutory holidays in the NWT, including Christmas and Boxing Day, National Indigenous Peoples Day, and Labor Day compares to 10 in Yukon and BC, 9 in Ontario and Alberta, and 10 in Nunavut. There you go. Despite a series of rejections from Cabinet, Johnson wants the GNWT to consult the public on an addition. Who's rejecting this? Why are you rejecting another day off? Like, we are heads down approaching trying to do a 4-day work week in North America. It's not going to happen in the States. It probably won't happen for most people in Canada as well, but it's being tested in other places where we do a 4-day work week. You still do your 40 hours.
Yeah.
But if the pandemic has taught us anything, especially for office workers, you can get most of your work done probably in the morning and then do something else. Traditionally speaking, the way we work is that, no, you got to stay here for 9 to 5. I'm done on my work. Okay, well, just stay there and sit at your desk.
Yeah.
Maybe try to find something to do.
Boondoggle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I've got some friends who work for the G. I mean, we all do, since, like, you know, everyone works for the G, who are just like, yeah, like, I mean, during the pandemic, we would, you know, you'd work, get your work done, and then you'd just spend the rest of your day looking for work to do.
Yeah.
Which is not efficient.
No.
And it doesn't increase efficiency at all.
No.
It just has people like, you could just do this at home. And a lot of people have been working at home through the pandemic and are just like, yeah, this is so much easier that I don't have to go into work. I get all my work done, and there it is.
Yeah. It's, yeah. I mean, I can understand why.
No.
You don't even know what I was about to say.
I don't, and I'm already disagreeing with you. It doesn't need to be Family Day, says Ryan. It could be anything. PEI is Islander Day. Manitoba will be selling Louis Riel Day. Iffy. Maybe we could have Elders Day or NWT Day or something.
Iffy?
A little bit.
Go on.
I'm fine. He says he's not picky. He'll even compromise on the date. The Yukon celebrates Heritage Day on the 26th. He says he'll even take St. Paddy's Day in March. If it's good enough for Newfoundland to make it a stat, it's good enough for us. I don't really want to have St. Paddy's Day be a holiday. It already is for most people. They already just take the Monday off anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd be okay with it.
But he said it's been a long year.
Are you going to say no to a day off in March?
I mean, most people spring break.
What is wrong with you?
Spring break.
Yeah, but we don't have that.
No, I don't. No, we don't.
Oh.
But I mean, like, because we're not traveling anywhere, like Phoenix and I were talking about this last night, she's got spring break, right?
Right.
She's going to have 1 week at camp and then 1 week off, and I'll probably take that week off so we can just...
Well, I'm very happy for the both of you.
All right. Well, I mean, very fortunate to be able to take that. That's the thing, though. Like, you and I and other people that we know, we're incredibly privileged and incredibly fortunate to be able to take time off when we need to. Like, just be able to call into work and be like, hey, listen, I'm just not going to come in today, but, I've done this and this and this. I'll work from home, whatever. And our jobs are like, yeah, that's fine. Right. We're very, very, very lucky.
Yeah.
Not everyone's so lucky. So an extra day off in the middle of the doldrums of winter is an easy thing. I can't believe it's being rejected.
I mean, there's still an inherent guilt about taking that day off when you ask for it.
Yeah.
Isn't there? Do you not feel guilty?
I mean,
when you take a morning off?
Yeah, but that's just capitalism sitting on your chest. You know what I mean? It's like, I feel guilty for not contributing today. And it's just like, well, you can take a day off, and you should be able to take a day off without feeling guilty.
All right. I mean, if you said you felt comfortable, I was like, maybe I got to make you feel more guilty about
Thank you.
it.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. It's what good friends do.
Justice Minister R.J. Simpson, or Minister of Holidays, as Johnson. Rylund, you are just awesome. Called him throughout Friday's question period, said the JWT has no plans to add a statutory holiday to the roster anytime soon. Why? I don't understand. Why is this even an argument? Just, here's a Monday off. There it is.
Yeah.
Done. It's not going to affect anything.
Yep.
Stores can, like private businesses, can choose to celebrate the holiday or not.
Yeah.
Offices, just close them. You're not getting any extra efficiency out. If anything, that would probably help efficiency if there's an efficiency rating for GNWT work or whatever work. I mean, it's the largest employer in the territory.
Yeah.
So, I mean, through January and February, there's probably a study. You could do a study between January and February and efficiency and workloads and how they're affected by the doldrums of winter, the post-Christmas kind of lull, and like how having a day off in the middle of all that might actually spur productivity rather than hinder it.
To make a sports analogy.
Yeah.
It's as though the NWT has an empty net.
Yeah.
They've got the puck, they got a clear breakaway, and they're just like, you know what, I'll just dump it into the corner.
You know what? I'm going to Patrick Steff on this, I'm going to fall, and I'm going to miss.
There's no honor in scoring an empty net goal.
That's right.
Like an easy goal to just seal the victory that no one's going to question.
And then literally an Edmonton Oiler comes in and skates it down the other end of the ice and scores a goal because they have family day.
And Alberta wins again.
Alberta wins again, and
it's not something we say very often on this show.
Especially not lately. Again, I've said this 1,000 times, and I'll say it again for the first time. We cannot let Alberta win anything.
But we're just letting that empty net.
We're small, but we're
sit
fierce.
there unscored on.
That's right. It's an extra day off. Every month should have a long weekend. Every month.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We've got 10. So the other one, we don't have one in January and February. That's it.
Yeah.
2 months in a row? That's it. Well, I guess January is New Year's Day. But
we launch a petition right now for that day off in
February, March. Right?
If someone rejects it, we make an amendment to that petition to kick them out of the territory.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then we'll just have people on side with it. And we won't even have to kick that many out.
Minister Simpson, you're on notice.
It'd be like a couple people.
You're getting kicked out for not supporting. Like, I don't understand. I guess I just don't understand just the definity of it. It's just like, no, we're definitely not adding a holiday. Why?
Because
this is something we need to spend more time
on the agenda.
That's right. That's right. You want this on the agenda? Make your point, and then we'll talk about it next session.
Like, you guys could still continue ledge sessions. Like, well, the rest of us will just take a day. It's fine.
Write your member and just say holidays now, February.
Yeah.
That's all you need.
Yeah.
Yeah. Doesn't make any sense to not have a long weekend in February or March. There you go.
MLAs go to work. It's fine.
That's right.
We'll take it.
The Mornings at the Cabin podcast.
Mornings at the Cabin brought to you by Aurora Ford. Driving the North, finishing up MATC for the day to start us off on our beautiful Monday morning. Minus 26 degrees. Perfectly normal temperature for this time of year. But, of course, big shout out to Alberta and Family Day, and big shout out to Manitoba and Louis Riel Day, and I think it's Islander Day and PEI.
Yeah.
Across this great nation of ours, stat holidays, pretty much across the board, except for us. So we wholeheartedly put our support behind Rylund Johnson's initiative to add a stat holiday for February. Anybody who dissents is a communist.
And a pop machine in every classroom.
A pop machine in every classroom.
And pizza Fridays every week.
Perfect text from Nicole suggesting that Rylund is absolutely that guy who ran for class president in high school and said, you know what? More dances, no uniforms, pizza day every Friday.
And the teachers have to do our chores for
the
us.
teachers got to do our chores, no homework, candy. It's going to be so cool. All seriousness, all joking aside, Rylund, you're doing a great job, and we wholeheartedly support your initiative.
It's a slam dunk.
That's right. Slammer dunker.
Low-hanging fruit.
Get in touch. Get in touch with your member and let them know that you want a stat holiday in February.
You know what? Out of protest.
Yeah.
You're
going to go home early?
In the true spirit.
Yeah, that's right.
Of my home province's stat holiday on this day, Louis Riel Day. I'm going to take the day off.
There you
go.
Going
home early.
I'm going to take
nuts to this. I deserve it.
You know what? In true form of Louis Riel Day, I'm going to take a half day.
Yeah.
Yeah. My indigenous half will take the day off. My white half go to work. Or the other way around. I can't remember. No, but Louis Riel Day in Manitoba, that's cool. I like that.
Yeah.
Keeping it real.
That's right.
Up here, I don't, yeah. And the one of the, like, what stat holiday is it? What do you call it? What is it? Elders Day was one of them, which is great.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Elders Day. What do you think? What's a good holiday? Right.
I mean,
now we got to come up with something.
Yeah. I mean, you could just go simple and Family Day. I always like to make fun of Family Day.
Family Day is so
it's
lame.
so wishy-washy. Family Day. It's
I don't have a family. I guess I don't get the day off.
Yeah. It's kind of lame. There's nothing really. Not to say that families are lame. Families are great.
I don't know. Families are lame.
But naming a day after, it's kind of like, okay, it's the kind of thing you can't really argue with, but you're not getting excited about.
The kind of thing you can't argue with is adding a stat holiday in the middle of winter.
You can't argue with it. Apparently, and you can get excited about it.
Apparently, everyone can argue with it because the MLA is just like, no.
Well, if it's not on the agenda.
No plan anytime soon. What plan do you need?
You got to stick to the plan.
Just add a friggin' day.
Stay the course.
Stay the course, big MLAs. You're doing super.
There's not a lot of synergy between an extra day off.
Again, very privileged and very fortunate to have a job where I can take time off. But, for those who don't, an extra day off, perfect.
What would we call it?
I don't know.
Jesse Wheeler Day.
No, please don't call it that. Okay. Good Lord. Rylund Johnson Day.
No, he just proposed it. We can't name it after.
That's right.
But like everyone else has proposed it too. Like,
yeah, that's true.
We agree with you, Rylund.
Yeah.
But like,
it could just be, you know what? Winter blah day. Just blah.
Winter blah day.
Blah day.
I like that.
Yeah,
that's
right.
Good.
We haven't gained as much light as we're going to by the end of the month.
Yeah.
So there you go. Just blah day.
Cold day in hell.
Cold day. It's a cold day in hell.
Cold day in hell day.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Not often do we spend 2 breaks on the same subject, but here we are.
Yeah.
Here we are. I mean, it's near and dear to all of us, getting a little bit more time off.
Yeah.
So, and then, of course, spring break coming up in March. But, I mean, unless you've got kids.
Meaningless.
It's meaningless.
Yeah.
Basically.
So happy cold day in hell day, all.
Yeah. Happy cold day in hell day. Wonderful. We'll call Rylund maybe tomorrow and see if we can get him to sign off on cold day and hell day.
Yeah.
Let's call it that. It's fine. Yeah.
We like to repeat words in our
That's right.
in our titles here on Morning.
I love that. Yeah, he's absolutely
Pop
the guy that ran
party,
for
trivia
president.
party, cold day and hell day.
Cold day and hell day. Absolutely the guy that ran for president in student council. No more uniforms. Fridays off. Teachers have to do homework.
Gonna add another recess.
And
recess.
We're in touch with Guns N' Roses people. They're gonna play the dance. Yeah. That was me back in the 90s.
Right.
Yeah. Going for student council at Mildred Hall in grade 8.
And it's gonna be old Axel.
Yeah,
New Axel.
Yeah, that's right. We got a clone of Axel. He's gonna be 22 again. It's gonna be great. Oh man! Stay tuned for the news coming up with Megan Brackenberry. Of course, you got 90s at 9 with Lecter, and don't worry, Snare Rapids Hydro is only going to be offline for at least a month because apparently they failed to maintain something from 1986. Apparently, I don't know. Seems to be the thing, but it's only going to be offline for a month, and I'm sure they won't pass that on to us. It's going to be great. Don't forget, if you go to unlimited internet Northwest Sale, they will throttle it, and your internet will become garbage, just like ours. That's great. Awesome. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening. Check out more from the show at cabinradio.ca and by following the Mornings at the Cabin Facebook page.